In this video, we're going to be going over the parallax info sections or side image sections. Um, there's a couple different options that our theme offers. So you have a more full width view like this, or a more boxed view where the information card kind of overlaps the image slightly, and then one that we kind of refer to as like a window info section. So the image is kind of styled to kind of look like it's through the window panes. And you might have a slightly different style for that. If you see a section similar to that, it's most likely going to be titled in your back end window section. So these are all actually different sections based on the option that you preferred in your design phase. So uh, in my example that I'll show you, I have all of the sections added to the page, so you can kind of just see how they're really all the same. You're just using the one that has that particular style applied. And so I have added an example of all of those to this example page, so we can kind of see the differences and then the similarities in terms of editing their content or adding them to another page. So I'll go into the back end of the page editor. The first one, which is the kind of smaller, more box style, where the information call to action is kind of overlapping the image a little bit, that's going to be called your side image section. The full width one is going to be called your side parallax section. And then the one where the image is kind of designed to be like looking through the window is going to be titled the window image section. In terms of the terminology parallax, basically what that means is you have the image is kind of set more as a background attachment, so that as you scroll, you're kind of scrolling the image. You can see that effect here as the text is scrolling up, the image is kind of set in the background. That scrolling animation is called parallax. And then cover is another option, which is basically take the image and fill it entirely into the container or space that has been designated in the design to house that image. And I'll go through those settings and kind of how those differences come out. So we'll start with the side image section. Whether you have one or two of the same section used on any page, you'll have some settings to control, if they're left or right, if it's that parallax animation on the image for scroll, or if it's more of a static image that covers the whole defined space there. And then the side image one also has a slider variation, often used on the About Us page, and I'll show you that as well. But we'll start with the section settings. So those are toggled to change your image side left and right. So if I was using the section twice, I would set one to left and one to right. And then the image type is the parallax, scroll, or the cover. So you might see, well, I really liked my image, but then once I set it in, it seems like it's cut off a little bit. That could be the overall size, especially if you used more of a portrait image. This image is closer to a square. It's probably more of like a 2:1, 3:2 ratio, meaning a little bit wider than it is taller. So you would want to use an image that's as close to that shape as possible. It can be larger. Larger is always better because you'll probably render a better resolution anyways. But you can see here that with that parallax scroll feature, that particular image doesn't have a whole lot of scroll happening to it, probably because its overall size. And some of it's cutting off the bike. And so maybe parallax is not the setting that's going to be the best for the image file that you have provided. So let's go ahead and just change that to cover, and I'll show you how that modifies that section. Okay, so then it's setting it to take the image by its size and try to fill the entire space as best as it can based on the aspect ratio of the image. Now that image being used, as you see, came out as a tall portrait because the image file uploaded was more of a tall portrait. So maybe we change out that image and give you an idea. See how that's a tall portrait. You would want to do something more square, more landscape. 1920 by 1280 is always a great size and ratio to kind of ensure that your images will then render into the containers more appropriately. So let's grab an image that might be a little bit closer. to the ratio that we have. So this one should fit a lot better. Let's go ahead and update. Give you a quick look into how that then adjusts. So you see here, it no longer has the scrolling effect. The image fits so much better and it looks back to kind of more the original design. So you do want to be cognitive of the actual physical size and height to width ratios of the images that you are using in these sections. Okay, so that will cover the side image section. And then there is section position, centered or side. It's currently set to centered. Side just makes a small adjustment. I'll show you what that adjustment looks like. So it kind of really just positions the content kind of a little bit more off to the side than center. So it's not really a drastic change. It kind of just that in this particular example, that's more a setting there that would be for just easy use based on some design variances. So you probably won't ever really need to make that adjustment because it's just really small unless the design has called for a different kind of layout of the content there. And then you can set the section's background, so that'll essentially change the background color of the text information card there. Then you'll have, just like most flexible content sections, you'll have a place to put your image, remove it and change it out, the section title, and then the content that goes in there. And then you also have the option to fill in a call to action, which your call to action is this button. So you have a field to label the button how you would like it, and then put in the page URL of where that button should go. And that will cover the side image section. Actually, I want to look at one more item there. You can customize the font size of the title, the paragraph, and the button versus pulling from the core theme sizes. And there is that option slider, like I was saying, is most often used on the About Us page. I'm just going to copy some of this content to where you can basically make that rotate. It'd be static, but it would rotate different information. And so I'll just kind of show you how that comes out as a slider really quick. And I'm just going to use this same placeholder content. And you can build out these sliders however many you need. And I'll show you. You can do a different image each time if you want. So each slide would feature a different image. Or if you just wanted really the focus to be slide changing the content, you can do that as well and just keep the same image each time. And basically what that does, it deactivates the call or the contact us call to action. So if you wanted it to be a call to action, you wouldn't want to use it as a slider. So it'll give you a different slide. So I can click next and I can slide a new image of the same and slide additional content. So you can kind of keep going and expanding. If you have a lot more content you're hoping to place into that section, it's going to make it really tall and probably not look that great, take up probably more space on the screen than you're hoping. So that would be a good appropriate time to just use it as a slider. You can still get all your content in there. There's the call to action for the user to know there's more information to read here, etc. And that will cover your side image section.